Hello everyone, welcome back to the IndieGeekGuy channel. I'm Martin and we're back with Black Sail. So things are really starting to ramp up in this season, and as we come to the season finale, we've somehow, although I don't believe it, lost Billy off the side of the ship. We don't know if he was pushed, if the cannonball hit the side and he got knocked off. Whatever happened, I don't think he's dead. That's just too obvious signposting for him still being alive, in my opinion. Charles has found a behemoth of a man standing on a beach that he was having visions of, so maybe we'll see where that goes today. And Flynn only managed to get a portion of the cannons from the ship that he needed after being chased away by the Scarborough. It's all, kicked off basically, and we're coming to the end of this season. This is the penultimate episode, I believe, unless I'm mistaken. So, let's see where this goes next. Let's see if we start making our way to the Urca de Lima or not. Let's see if we find out what happened to Billy. And let's see what this giant man's all about. So, let's get into it.
Your friend, Mrs. Barlow, understood she was responsible for keeping him under lock and key. We trusted her, and she betrayed us.
Perhaps he managed to secrete a message past her men. That hardly rises to the level of betrayal.
Come on, Flynn. You got to at least consider it.
I will address the situation with Mrs. Barlow immediately. You have my word.
Well, that's going to be an interesting conversation, isn't it?
Captain,
See how that goes.
Ship purloined, captain and crew a distant memory. No prospects at all, except for this shithole of a brothel, which by some miracle of economics seems incapable of turning a profit.
How can you run a brothel here and not make money?
I have no fucking idea.
You always want telling everyone how fucking clever you are.
I don't get how that's possible at all. Like, how is that not working?
Mrs. Barlow, you said you'd be holding her to account. I assumed you'd not want to wait.
Even Gates is getting on his case about it, which you know it's bad when that starts happening.
I think you and I need to discuss the letter that Billy found. And why exactly it is that she believes you're going to betray your crew.
Yep, he's really getting on his case. Good. It's the least Billy deserves.
He thought I was asleep at Miss Guthrie's tavern. I heard him talking. It wasn't Singleton stole the page. It was him.
This could go bad very quickly.
Imagine what they'd say if they knew that you're the reason that they had to chase that ship in the first place.
I would like the chance to explain myself.
I'm listening.
It was not a betrayal.
It was not your decision to make. My life is my
True
own.
that.
It's not Benjamin Hornigold's, it's not Charles Vane's, it's not my father's, and it's not yours.
That seems to be a developing theme in this show.
I'm sorry.
People trying to control other people's lives.
There's a place not far from here. A place fueled by plunder. She's weak, so she's ripe for the taking. A man with enough strength to get his hands wrapped around her throat in a matter of hours.
Now, is he talking about the island or Miss Guthrie? Because he seems to be implying some double meaning.
Give me a dozen of them, and I will bring Nassau in line.
How did you know to seek me out? Is my name spoken as far as Nassau?
No, it seems more personal than that.
He thought you saw us all as expendable.
Expendable.
Pawns. To be used for your own ends.
I have fought and bled alongside my men.
I know what happened on the Maria Lane. You told me it was self-defense, but there were no weapons in that cabin. But I know you used the crew to assassinate those people. Men died that day. And if yesterday was one of those days, then you and I have a problem. Because Billy wasn't expendable to me.
Shit getting real now.
When he should have been focused on the Scarborough's guns. He was focused on hurling unfounded accusations at me. Perhaps if you helped him understand the world in which he lived, he'd still be here right now.
Now, they have a chance at something better than that. But it isn't gonna happen unless somebody makes it happen.
You're lying to him.
And if I don't, who will? Everyone's lied to, for their own good. Every soldier who's told by his commander that courage will see them through. Every subject who's told by
His king. Is that what you are to us now? The sovereign.
He certainly believes it. He certainly believes that.
If no one knows,
It's like his opening line to Billy, pretty much.
everyone wins.
But when it's done, you and I will quietly go our separate ways. And I'll thank you. Not to protest.
That was a fucking scene and a half. Jesus. It was good to finally get it out between those two, though. Christ. Flint's motivations are certainly a lot more clear in terms of how he sees the crew and
sense to you?
what his end game is.
Flint.
You think they just haul me up in front of the crew, air your story, and that's the end of it? I think you've forgotten one very important detail.
The money. That has to be considered, does it not?
They wouldn't.
Wouldn't they? A one-legged half-wit versus a chance at a fortune? The odds are decidedly not in your favor.
Yeah, it's not looking good for you, Randall. It ain't looking good.
Or delirious.
You're not dealing with, like, decent people here.
And I offer you a chance to be free of this place.
This is risky.
And you were a strong crew once. Proper pirates. Feared, as you should have been.
I wouldn't be doing this speech
He dragged you away from
right in front of the man. I don't know about that.
Follow me, and I will show you what life is.
Damn! Jesus, that's... Alright, Charles. I don't know if this was the best fight to pick, but he seems to be doing staggeringly... I can't even say the fucking word. I'm so surprised by how well he's doing. Oh, he hit the ball. That's a cheap move, but, you know, pirates.
I'm proud of you.
Oh my god. How is his head not crushed?
You will reproduce this page to the best of your ability. If you can do so to Mr. de Groot's satisfaction, then maybe...
I mean, this needs testing. To be fair, it does need testing.
It's a test.
Exactly.
It's a terrible test.
Believe me, I'm aware.
Whether or not I can memorize this page in 5 minutes proves nothing.
Also a good point.
Certainly not enough to risk his own life, not to mention committing poor Randall to an early grave. He says if he's to go down that road, he needs certainty.
Better get studying, my man.
Because there is no life here. There is no joy here. There is no love here.
What are you talking about? What do you think I'm out there fighting for, if not to make all those things possible here?
You'll fight a war so we can make a life.
You don't get one without the other, my sweet.
No.
It requires an intolerable sacrifice.
To accept a pardon.
To apologize.
Apologize? Who will you be apologizing to?
To England! They took everything from us. And then they called me a monster. The moment I signed that pardon, the moment I asked for one, I proclaimed to the world that they were right.
This path you're on. It doesn't lead where you think it does.
It's a path that could get him killed.
He'd agree with
But-
me.
But I understand, like, there clearly is something going on that I'm not privy to, but it's weird that I'm finding myself kind of understanding where he's coming from without having all the pieces.
Right now, at this moment, it is just as likely you're the one that dies as I am. I go to the crew, and I offer to be your caretaker. Should anything happen, it comes out of my share. All you have to do is change your story.
You're a thief.
Are you fucking kidding me? All right.
Randall? You're a thief.
Randall, what's gotten into you?
Mr. Randall has reconsidered his position. If you intend to accuse Mr. Silver before the crew, you do so without a witness.
Okay. Thankfully that all got sorted out then. Well, for now at least.
Captain Onigold has extended me an offer to join his crew. If you need me, I will be here for you. But as long as you insist on pursuing this course with Captain Flint, I will always be tempted to interfere.
I mean, he's doing it for the right reasons. Like, he's... If he thinks he's going to be trouble for you, it's probably best that he removes himself from the situation.
Tell me, we're not crazy, you and I, to put ourselves through all of this. And the outcome's so uncertain.
At least he knows the outcome is uncertain. At least he knows that. He seemed very resolute earlier.
I believe if there's anyone who can do what's necessary to make it something better, it's you.
Probably true. Interesting. They tried to make it seem like there was some sort of sexual tension there, but I kind of didn't buy it.
The lying, we could forgive. Singleton, we could forgive. We could forgive all of it. Not Billy. When the time comes, we need to know that you won't stand in the way. But once we have the money, Flint dies.
Yep, if that's what... I can see why they're going to want to do that. Since they're all convinced that he knocked him off.
Not from me.
Well, now we've got all sorts of things going on. Jesus. Just when you think the show is going into a line of, okay, this is where we're heading, another thing just gets thrown on top, doesn't it? Billy? 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 Is it Billy? No, it's Charles. It's Charles. Charles digging his way out of his fucking grave somehow. If they ever needed... Oh! He's gonna get, like, the reputation of, like, the undead captain or some shit. I mean, that would convince some skeptical people about whether we should follow this guy or not. Still no news on Billy, though. I don't believe he is dead. He's gonna crop up, and he's probably going to save Flint somehow. But anyway, let's talk about this. Okay, that was the reaction, guys. If you enjoyed it, please hit the thumbs up button. It helps it get seen by more people, and maybe consider subscribing so you don't miss future episodes. Other than that, we're going to talk about this episode. Okay, there was a lot of just airing things out in this episode. Like, we had Gates and Flint having it out, which was beautiful. It was just a great scene, well performed, and, you know, it started to... You know, we sort of saw at the end of the previous episode that there are cracks in the relationship between Gates and Flint, and here we finally got to see where that led, and that scene was just, you know, just powerful in a lot of ways. Like, it was two friends really trying to see each other for themselves and trying to be truthful about each other, and, you know, it was just very, very good. It was great to see Gates sort of standing up for Billy in that moment because, you know, although we don't actually know what happened to Billy, Flint did seem to imply in that conversation that he had to get rid of him because he knew something that could put everybody else, including himself, at jeopardy. That seemed to be the insinuation, but he didn't actually say it at the same time. So, you know, to my mind, it's still slightly up in the air, but I think it is, you know, there is a chance that Flint might have got rid of him because, you know, he threatened Flint's long-term plan, which I do believe Flint's long-term plan is to create a safe haven for these people and himself included, that can create a real nation for themselves, and that he wants to bring all these people with him, the people who he also sees, you know, he thinks a lot of them are idiots and that they, and that they will, you know, just if they get any kind of money, they won't know what to do with it. So it's better for him to sort of try and control it and give them something that they would never give to themselves. And I think he, even though he thinks they are idiots, he has a sympathy or an empathy with all of them because they are in their own way outcasts of civilization. And, you know, clearly that's how he sees himself. Because it was taken from him. Like, we got another great scene with him and Mrs. Barlow sort of talking about why she wrote the letter, going over his head like that. And, you know, it's just all these interesting sort of puzzle pieces seem to slowly be fitting together a bit more. And, you know, it's interesting that it's Flint, like, he seemed to confirm that Flint was exiled from England for reasons. Reasons haven't been divulged, but, you know, it seems like he must have done something that was, you know, in the view of civilization at this time was just the worst. Like he said, they described him as a monster, so they must, you know, he must have something that is, you know, I don't know that. I don't want to speculate too much on it because I feel like could go anywhere with that, but clearly he is not accepted by like a civil, or what is considered civilization, for who he is. So that's an interesting thing that is kind of been in my head, but I never really knew where to go with it. But now it seems to be peeling back the layers in that a little bit more. So that's interesting, and obviously his relationship with Mrs. Barlow is also of interest. But again, I've said this in previous reactions, that there seems to be double meanings to their conversations and stuff, and like they clearly had some kind of relationship prior to this new life that they found themselves in, but I don't think the show has done anything to really truthfully show whatever that relationship was and the true nature of it. So, I'm invested in it. I think Flint is a really interesting character that, he's flawed in a lot of ways, but ultimately I do think his motivations and his intentions are good ones. It's just he knows he's operating in a world where he has to do certain things in order to pull off what he's trying to do. Like, he has to, he's surrounded by pirates. He has to act like one in many ways to survive this world and to ultimately pull off whatever this big scheme of his is to create this new nation. On top of that, we got Charles doing his thing, proving that he is strong enough to take captaincy of these sort of crew that have now moved inland, and they're setting up he's like the polar opposite of Flint in that way. Like, Flint's desperate to set up a nation which he can just live on land, doesn't have to go out to sea anymore, where Charles is like, I want to make the ultimate pirate crew. I want to create that and, be the best of the best of the best of the best, as, people in Men in Black would say. But that seems to be his intention right now. And now looks like he's fucking zombie god pirate man who's risen from the grave. So that's something to add to his mythology as a pirate captain, I suppose. So, which will clearly work. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. That's a whole other, now that they've set sail for the Urca de Lima, I feel like on their return journey or when they get back to Nassau, whatever Charles is planning is going to be in effect. So that's going to be a whole other situation they're going to have to deal with. And then we got Jack. Jack just sort of struggling through life at the moment, just trying to run this brothel that he has no idea how to do. He's getting duped by these people just taking advantage of him emotionally. But then Max comes in with the save to sort of say, if you want to run this place, you've got to do things this way, and it will be fine. But you got to do it. You got to be hard with these people because they are harder than what they put on. They put on a show for you because they know they'll get sympathy. But you got to be somewhat stricter with them. Maybe not to the extent of what the previous owner was like, but you do have to, lead by force to a certain degree. But it's interesting. It's just fun to sort of see Jack a little bit out of his depth, a little bit out of his element, and to try and adapt to that situation. And, it's fun. Like, I when Jack was first introduced, he came off as a slightly sleazier, manipulator in the whole thing. But as the episodes have gone on, he's become, again, he's just another person surviving this world who is more intelligent than a lot of the people he's around, but that intelligence can be feared. He doesn't sometimes know how to apply it in a language that they'll understand and how to use it to better effect. So it's interesting getting to see him adapting to a situation in a way where it's so overtly out of his wheelhouse to a degree. So all the previous times, he's been able to talk his way out of situations. He's been able to sort of understand the situation from a pirate point of view, but now he's in a situation which is, it's largely played for laughs, but it's fun to see a character just go through that sort of adaptation of their skill set. Interesting that Max decided to try and help him out. I'm not sure where her plans will be going forward from here, but he was part of the crew who had her tied up and beating her and all that shit, and yeah, I mean, he didn't participate in any of it, but he's still, he was still part of the crew who was doing that to her. So it's weird and interesting that she has decided to help him out. So I don't know where her long-term plan still. I've never been able to get a handle on Max's long-term plan, if I'm being honest, but it was interesting that she decided to come in and sort of, you know, this is how you got to do it. So we'll see where that goes, I suppose. And then, you know, Behemoth here at the end was that, you know, that Gates has basically agreed to the crew who now know about the betrayal and specifically about what's happened to Billy, if it is indeed what has happened to Billy. They're all sort of assuming, even though Flint laid it on pretty thick that he had to get rid of him. That Gates has just passed, like, yeah, after we're done, you guys can take him out, kill him, get rid of him, because, you know, we all love Billy. This is what he deserves for doing that. I assume what's going to happen is that Billy is going to come back in and stop that from happening. But yeah, that's where we're at with all that. But yeah, just a solid episode overall. It was good. It was good to see everything that has happened over the previous few episodes sort of come to a point to a degree, and now it's going out again. Like, the point came to here, and now we've got a whole bunch of new situations that are going back out again. But you know, that's how drama works. I'm enjoying the ride still. It's a good time, and I hope you're enjoying it still with me. So yeah, that's this episode, guys. Thank you for watching this video, guys. If you enjoyed it, please hit the thumbs up button. It helps it get seen by more people, and it lets me know that you enjoyed it. Also, consider subscribing so you don't miss any future episodes. Also, another great way to let me know that you're enjoying the content and that you want to see more. But other than that, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will catch you on the next one.